My name is David Watkins, and I consider myself to be pretty unique, as a person that is, not necessarily as a name. Because after all, there must be loads and loads of David Watkinses out there, and indeed there are. There's actually plenty. There's a famous rugby footballer you may have heard of, called David Watkins. So famous, in fact, that I went and bought his book thinking it was all about me. So I went to W.H. Smith, saw this book, The David Watkins Story. I thought, it's amazing. It's clearly going to tell me what my life is ahead of me. And it was all about this rugby footballer called David Watkins. So I was a little bit disappointed to find that there was another David Watkins. I then found out that there was a professor at Southampton University called David Watkins. I found out that there was an Australian street cleaner who lost his job after downing 12 beers and half a bottle of red wine and crashed his street sweeper into a parked car, called David Watkins. And then there's the David Watkins who was the Norwich head teacher, and I think this is probably my favourite, who last year was found not guilty for forcing a fish head into an 11-year-old boy's mouth. When I look at the presentation, I'm not trying to sell you, I'm not a social media manager or whatever it may be. I'm very cynical about marketing. I'm probably one of the few people that actually are cynical about marketing. But I think it's scary when you find that our reputation is actually controlled by other people. How do I know that? Well, because I deal with hundreds of businesses every single year. And I've been doing what I'm talking about probably for 30 or 40 years. Many of the people that we allow to control our reputation, we don't even know. And yet, it doesn't have to be this way. The World Wide Web, by its very name, has the amazing power to connect us to everybody on the internet. That's about 2 billion, repeat, 2 billion people who are connected on the internet. So even if all you've ever done is sent an email or visited a website, the chances are that your reputation is being discussed and potentially mauled to death right now as you sit in front of me. Now just imagine if you'd actually opened an account with Facebook. Just imagine if you'd sent a tweet using Twitter. Just imagine if you'd accepted a contact on LinkedIn, or posted an opinion on a news site, or even bought your groceries online, or responded to some form of online survey. Just imagine that. We think about how do we become marketable. Now, to enable you to manage your reputation, you've also got to know your own personal strengths and your weaknesses. Now, you'll be very, very familiar with the SWOT analysis. This is Malcolm, by the way, Malcolm the mechanic. You'll find Malcolm in the handout, so I'll refer to Malcolm in just a second. What you've got to do, if anybody come across a SWOT analysis, I mean, you'll be familiar with SWOT analysis, of course you are. Okay? Now, what most people tend to use a SWOT analysis for is for business. And we've got business advisors, we've got mentors in the room, and they will use the SWOT analysis. One of the very early things that they will do as an exercise with the clients. Now, I think you should apply this to yourself. This is where Malcolm the mechanic comes in, as you'll see when you read the handout. You see, I think you should look at your own strengths, your own weaknesses, your own opportunities, your own threats, and apply this to yourself. Why do I think that? Well, I think because we tend to underestimate ourselves. What we're good at is focusing on our weaknesses. We always tell people what we're not very good at. And it's scientifically proven the fact that 80% of our thoughts are negative. And you can apply that, on your way here tonight. Oh, crikey, look at the traffic, I'm going to be late. Negative. Every single time, I hope the coffee's going to be okay. I hope I've got somewhere to... All these things are all negative thoughts. They're not positive things. So it means, therefore, that your potential suppliers, your potential clients, are all thinking negative anyway. Because they're all thinking, well, I don't think he can be very good or she can be very good. So you've got to overcome that negativity. And the way to overcome the negativity is to do yourself a personal SWOT analysis. Making sure the fact that you identify clearly your strengths and your weaknesses, which of course, as you well know, can be both the same. You could in fact put in the strength box, I've got 35 years experience. Now I did that when I sat down and did my own personal SWOT analysis. I thought, well, I've got 35 years experience. That's going to be a massive strength. Now, of course, what I was forgetting was the obvious. I was forgetting that there were other people born around about the same time as me. I'm not precious. I wasn't the only one that was born that era. So what, there are other people with also 35 years experience. Lots of people, in fact. So I've got to find something which differentiates me. And you've got to do the same. So what we're going to explore tonight is how do we differentiate ourselves from everybody else. So you get feedback. One of the things that's really important is to get feedback from people. And that feedback could be how caring you are, as we've heard. It could be how responsible you are. It could be how efficient you are. When you've done that, once again, marketing people will be very familiar with this. You then start to highlight the features. This is what you do. These are the features. So if it was a product, you'd be highlighting what the features of the product are. Well, you're the product. You've just identified yourself as a product, so now you apply the same principles to you. You decide what it is that you're offering, and more importantly, what is the benefit, keyword benefit, to whoever you're going to do it for. For example, if you're a sales manager, if you've got sales managers here tonight, what specific feature do you offer? Is it the fact that you are knowledgeable of your industry? Is it the fact that you've got team management skills? Or is it the fact that you married the boss's daughter or the boss's son? It's whatever. You will know what your strengths are, and you will know what your weaknesses are. And video yourself doing certain things. No, not those kind of certain things. Things that are practical and can help other people. Maybe a little bit of business advice. Maybe things to look out for. And if you go on YouTube and look at all the kind of things that people do on the how-tos, you'll find that they're incredibly popular. So what do you do to start with? Well, you start with the basics. The basics are complete your profile in detail, making sure that you include a photograph that is current. There's no point saying, well, this is me when I was 12. Or a photograph which would be considered inappropriate. And in some cases, highly inappropriate. Most people have got established with your brand in their mind, you're on a winner, because it's very, very difficult to change that. And that's why savvy brands have created a fan base to become their resource of choice. Remember that's where we came in? So your perceived brand is the true you. You're building a relationship with the people that you want to influence. There's no room for fakers or charlatans. You've got to position yourself in the mind of the customer. How do you do that? Well, it's your ethos. It's what you stand for. That's what people believe. See, everything nowadays is built on trust, because we're very, very cynical. Woolworths we've seen, MFI, Gone. So therefore, build it on trust. It's your values, your beliefs, your attitude. It could be built on your brand name. Maybe you've got a very well-established brand name. It could be front of house, meaning business cards, promotional material, your website, your office, your shop, wherever you're working from. And of course, what you will then do is, once you've completed the SWOT analysis, you will then promote it. That's what the SWOT analysis does. A SWOT analysis is there to be exploited, so exploit it. So when you get to this step, which is step 7, you need to define what is it that you actually stand for. Because that is you, that is your personal brand. And you see, successful brands have a focus. And they usually work on what's called the brand wheel. This is you. This is not a brand, this is not tins of beans, this is you. So think about the essence. The essence is the soul of the brand. The ethos, the thing which drives you and the thing which people respond to. Personality, actually qualities. You know, it could be experience, it could be knowledge, it could be guarantees. The values, what it is that you stand for. The benefit, what's in it for them? WIIFM. And the attributes. The attributes are the added value to the brand. What are the added value to the brand? Well, reputation, warranties, guarantees, all those things. So you've got to say to yourself, how can I bring added value to the brand? Because you say 35 years, 35 years, 35 years, 35 years. I've got to be different. I've got to find ways of differentiating myself from all these other people that are doing roughly the same things, born roughly about the same time. So you've got to be known for differentiation, something that's different. So the key to successful branding is to specialise. Become known for certain specialisms. Become known for a product range, a style, a method, rather than trying to be all things to all people. I'm a mentor, I'm a business advisor, I'm this and that. I'm Start to talk about what it is that you specialise in. Now you know what that is because you've already done it. The benefits. Highlight what you're best at, that's the strengths, rather than the weaknesses.